Hello, 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 hello. Check, 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 check. I'm
Hello, 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 hello. Check, check,
hearing
check, check.
myself. Stand by. Hey, everybody. Hope you're all well. I'm doing a little bit of testing here. I'm trying to see if some of this stuff is actually working properly. I'm using a new streaming setup. How's the video coming through? Capital. Oops, stand by. Got audio issue. I got all kinds of problems here. I see Arrow says that he can hear me. How's the video coming through? Is the video coming through okay? Let me know about that. Video looks good, Solomon says. Hello, Solomon. Hope you're well. Crisp AV. Okay, that's good. So I'm trying restream out. A lot of other Star Citizen content creators have told me to do it, you know, so Soul Citizens and some other great people. So I thought I would give it a try because we obviously have our YouTube community, but we also have our Twitch community kind of going on, and we have a lot of subscribers on both. So anyways, just wanted to try out Restream, see if it was working. Hello everyone in a chat. I see Tobiba. Hopefully I said that right. Hope you're well. Captain Kern, bingo as always. Solomon, Jeff Hawk. Another thing I got to do is I got to get the chats combined. They changed in the new OBS I have. They changed where the chat layout is, so I've got to reset that up. Oh, Reese just subscribed at tier 1. Thank you, Reese. Pretty appreciate it. Hope you're well, buddy. It's been a little bit of a while since I have been streaming, but I'm going to get back to it. As you all know, different priorities and stuff pop up from time to time. I was really just going to stream for a little bit, chat Star Citizen. Feel free to ask me any questions as well. Give you a bit of an update about what I've been up to. Mainly been playing some Arma 3 with Ender in our off times. Obviously, we don't really stream that, but we're going to start streaming it. Oh, Strato Brick. Hope you're well, buddy. Enjoyed seeing you at Equinox. Had a really good time. Strato Brick was there, and he's the one. If you've seen any pictures from Equinox, he built the really amazing Scorpius Lego model. It was incredible. So, Bingo says my chat is synced. Awesome. Very, very cool. Thank you, Bingo. Captain Kern, what a great afternoon. Pineapple upside down, cake, whipped cream, and star jump. Appreciate it, Captain. So couple things I can go over real quick. I'm sure Ender would appreciate me passing along the information for those of you that don't know. Ender's doing the Star Jump Guardian stuff. He's going to have a bunch of giveaways coming up from Movember. Go check him out on Twitter and on his Twitch channel, which is StarJump_Ender on Twitch. Give him a follow if you're not following him. He's going to have some ship giveaways this month, which is really awesome. I'm going to be having some some giveaways as well on my channel. Both of these channels you're watching, the YouTube and the Twitch. Probably giving away I got two giveaways right now, because one of them I have three, but one will go to Guardians. And then I have two giveaways. One will be a Corsair, and then one will be a Vulture. I think Ender's got some of the same. So two exciting ships that are going to be straight to flyable very, very soon. Those of you that know me know I prefer to do giveaways on ships. I don't do them a lot, but when I do a giveaway, I prefer it to be on a ship that's either flight ready or going to be flight ready very soon. So that being said, giveaways coming up soon. I have really, now that Star Jump Fleet Viewer is out the door, I have really been digging into two primary Star Jump projects. I'm trying to help Ender out with Guardians, of course, where I can, if I can, although he's got that really locked down and doing a fantastic job. But what I am currently working on is starting to do more R&D on the next cinematic, which is 50-50 right now if it's going to be an RSI cinematic or a I've been great, Stratobreak. Thanks, buddy. Yeah, I just been slammed with work, honestly, real life stuff. But I'm starting R&D work on some stuff for the RSI cinematic, but it may not be an RSI cinematic going forward. I might change it to just a Star Citizen cinematic and shoot for Invictus next year and do kind of a big Invictus thing. The only problem with that is I feel like Invictus is very military leaning, and I don't necessarily want it to be a combat focused cinematic, specifically because I did so much combat stuff in the Aegis cinematic. Oh, by the way, everyone, there may be some things appearing in chat like Patreon and Sergeant Fleet Viewer that aren't posting the links. I got to fix that. I got to sit down with Ender and get all that worked out. So just bear with me there. This is more of a test stream to see if the actual restream thing is working properly. But yeah, Invictus is a little bit military leaning, obviously Fleet Week, but I still think I could release a whatever cinematic there. But I want to do a cinematic that does focus on stuff that's more like industrial related. So I want to show some mining and kind of all that kind of cool stuff. In addition to that, I am looking. So there's kind of two things going on with Sergeant Fleet Viewer. One is that myself, VMXEO, and Starlet are pretty soon. We've got to get together and meet about what the version 2 update is going to look like. We want to do kind of a bigger update that includes some new features. There's been some things talked about, everything from adding a different, additional angles to even adding some 360 rotation stuff, a lot of like technical features, grouping, all that kind of stuff. So that being said, that's one thing we still need to meet on and can kind of get going. Let's see. Solomon says, what about cinematics showing off utility ships? Yeah, essentially, Solomon, that's what I want the next cinematic to be. I mean, I don't mind if there's some combat stuff in it, but the Aegis cinematic was very heavily combat focused, especially on the end. So I wouldn't mind doing something a little bit more utility, industrial, and maybe there's some combat being shown, but it's still being shown through the lens of the utility ship. So for example, maybe it's SRVs, towing, ships that just lost a battle and stuff back to a space station or something. I don't know. I'm still working out scenes. I've got a couple scenes that I'm currently testing. I can tell you right now, the ship I'm currently doing test scenes with is the Odyssey. Some of you that know my cinematic work know that I like to sort of recreate some of the concept artwork stuff. So there's a particular piece of concept art of the Odyssey that I want to kind of recreate in motion and like fully animated. So, and then the next thing that I'm starting to do a lot of thinking about with Starjump Fleet Viewer is Starjump Fleet Command, which, if you've not heard of that, Starjump Fleet Command is that's sort of actually what we want to be the Starjump product, right? We want that to be the Starjump thing. Fleet Viewer is more of a, I guess you could consider it sort of a test bed for what Fleet Command will be. Fleet Command is going to be hey, Bunkerfist, hope you're well. Salute to you. Hope things are going well for you. Thanks for joining. We're just doing a little bit of test stream here. Might do some ship discussion here in just a second, but we're just doing a little bit of a catch up on what's been going on with Starjump and myself. So anyways, going back to Fleet Command, Starjump Fleet Command is a project that is Starjump Fleet Viewer, but like on steroids, right? So like times 1,000. It'll have a ton of additional features, a ton of additional visualizations, and will incorporate, the goal of it is to incorporate the visual stuff that Fleet Viewer can do, but combine that with the calculation type metagame stuff that other websites do, like Urkel and stuff like that. It's also going to allow you to hopefully like assign players in your org to your ships, group ships by ownership, allow orgs to sort of create fleets together. It's a lot bigger kind of project. Oh, thank you, Ruben, for the follow. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much. We are trying to build the follower count here as we get the streaming going back, so I appreciate that. But Fleet Command is going to be pretty big. The cool thing is with Fleet Command is I've actually worked out a lot of what it's going to do, and I've even built some sort of like proof of concept stuff. So I think pretty soon for our Patreon, StarJump Patreon members, I'm going to do a preview of it, like a visual preview to kind of give some people a little bit of a sneak peek. And then what I think I might do is I got to talk to Starlet and some additional people to kind of see what's going to be required to get a lot of this going. The good thing with Fleet Command is while Fleet Viewer took a long time because we had to get through all the visuals, and a lot of those visuals had to be created from scratch. Fleet Command won't have to go through that process. Fleet Command is all back-end stuff. It's going to utilize Fleet Viewer visual assets, but it's going to provide a whole bunch of more like options, features, technical data, summary, information input and output, paths, all this kind of stuff. So technically, Fleet Command should not be like a 1.5 year long project like Fleet Viewer was. So yeah, I agree, Bunker. Ship discussions are definitely the most fun. And name goes here. Will I need a 4090? You won't need a 4090 for Fleet Command or Fleet Viewer. They're all pretty lightweight, so you should. Yeah, I've been thinking about getting a 4090, but I'm gonna wait to see what happens with NVIDIA's investigation into this cord, into that 12 volt or 12 watt, whatever it is, cord that goes into it. I know there's been some people that have been saying they've been melting. Because too much wattage is going through those tiny pens. Apparently, I was reading on, I think it was J2 Cents, that the pens are rated to hold like 8.5 watts or whatever. Again, I don't know the terminology here, but that it's drawing 9.5 and it's causing them to overheat, etc. So I'm waiting a little bit. I'm going to make sure they got their stuff figured out before I dive in. So yeah, Fleet Command. Probably going to be giving Patreon users a preview of that maybe this weekend. The regular StarJump community, it might be a little while still before I fully reveal it. Primarily because I want to make sure in discussing with Starlet, like what can be done, what can't be done, if the language we develop Fleet Viewer in is the appropriate language for Fleet Command, etc. But again, I do have kind of like a pitch video that shows off Fleet Command, and that's something that I'll show off to sorry, stand by. That's something I'll show off to Patreon users probably this weekend. So, and again, you don't have to be a Patreon member to get access to Fleet Viewer or to Fleet Command in the future. It will always be, open and free. Let's see here. Mr. Dot One says Fleet Command. So will I be able to sync to other players so they see what Fleet Commander wants from them? Yeah, in a way, yeah. It's less syncing with them and allowing them to plug into what's there. So in a sense, they would kind of be syncing to the Fleet Command portal for with whoever starts it. And it can be by player, by org, but that's exactly the type of stuff dot that we're like kind of figuring out. You know what I mean? I appreciate that follow, Vex. Thank you so much. Salute to you. Hope you are well. See, Nenom117. Beep boop. Hope you're well. All right, so I'm gonna flip over real quick here. Bear with me. How's everyone? Bingo. How's the audio video? Still looking solid? Hopefully so. I'm gonna flip over to stand by here, everyone. I'm setting up something here. Okay, let's see. Bunker Fist says looking good. That's what I like to hear. Appreciate it, Bunker. Bingo says Roger. Okay, I'm gonna flip over to, hopefully this is the right camera. All right, that's right, but where is my cam? Let's see if this works. There I am. I'm a little dark, primarily because that's my nighttime lighting, which is not present on my daytime setup because it's the middle of the day where I'm at. Yeah, feel free to hit me up with any Fleet Viewer or Fleet Command questions. I'll try to answer them, or any cinematic questions. I'm going to be, like I said, streaming some Arma 3 soon. For those of you that don't know, myself and Ender are very big Arma 3 players. Matter of fact, before we came over to Star Citizen, we ran a very tight, very put together Arma 3 Milsim group known as the 111 SOG, 111 Special Operations Group. We didn't have a ton of members, but we ran very in-depth operations. I created a lot of mods for the game along with some other members of the unit. We probably had some of the most robust and interesting mods of any Milsim group out there. And our missions were very kind of involved and took a lot of effort. You know, a lot of them could be 3-4 hours long through pre-planning, insertion, execution, then exfiltration, all that. We do run our operations from start to finish in that way, meaning, you know, we don't just pop into a server, kill the bad guys, and pop out. No, that's not what we do in Arma 3. We go hardcore. We have to execute perfect insertions, perfect exfiltrations, all that. The mission does not end until we get back to the base safely. We had a great play session last night with Arma 3, and I know myself and Ender would really like to stream it. So stay tuned for that. I think you all will enjoy that. Kappa Toast, hope you're well. Congratulations on winning the Star Jump Fleet Viewer contest. Kappa Toast, I believe, won a Hercules C2. Really cool. That was provided by Xylo from CIG. CIG was very excited about Star Jump Fleet Viewer and wanted to do something to help support us. And they actually had the idea of doing some sort of creative Fleet Viewer contest. And that's sort of what spawned that. And they offered up prizes and allowed me to pick the prizes and all that stuff. The only requisite is that it had to be under a certain amount of money and that it had to be flight ready. But still really generous. We had some great prizes. I think it was a C2 Hercules, 400i, and the Argo Raft, all with LTI. So Kappa Toast won the C2 Hercules. Congratulations on that. Hope you are enjoying it. There you go. We will be doing more Fleet Viewer contests for sure. Reese says, but do you do Warhammer 40k mods? No, Reese, I never got really into Warhammer. I love the art style of Warhammer, and I like what it is. I just never had the opportunity to like be into it, you know, and like put forth any of that effort. But I appreciate it for what it is. And right down the road for me, there's a Warhammer store, like brick and mortar store. I've never been in it, but I've always wanted to check it out. Actually, I can appreciate certain things that I'm like not like totally into. I can still appreciate it though. So Yes, Mr. Dot. Growing up, people play a tactical game as it was. Yes, very, and it is very tactical. It's slow gameplay, but it's there's a lot of logistics going in on it. So I think you all may enjoy it. 06A04F. I don't know why. Hopefully I'm reading that correctly. Salute to you. Hope you're well. Hope you are well. Never go into a Warhammer bunker without a protective suit. All right, good to know. Hey everyone, I have Star Jump Fleet Viewer up right now. As you see, I get the Corsair popped up here. Who else is excited for the Drake Corsair? It is one of my it's one of my kind of top, I guess you would say it's kind of one of my top 5 ships that I'm waiting for. I'll pop the other ones up here real quick. So obviously I'm really looking to the Corsair. Another ship I am really looking forward to is the Aegis Nautilus. In addition, I'm of course looking to the Kraken. That's another big one that I'm excited for. We'll go ahead and move it over. And then what else am I excited for? Really excited for the Pioneer. And the funny thing is you may look at these and go, oh, he just likes a lot of big ships. It's not really that. It's more gameplay related, but we'll get into that in a second. And then the last but not least is the Polaris. These are kind of my top 5 ships. Like if I had to kind of, I'm going to unlock my canvas. If I had to kind of select 4 ships that to me offer up really interesting gameplay that I'm really excited for, it would be these 5 ships. And so it's pretty, all these are concept ships obviously at this point. So it's really exciting that finally one of them off my list is coming to the game finally. So let's see. Hey Jag, hope you're well. Pathfinder, thanks for stopping by. Let me catch up on a couple questions here. Vasily, hope you're well. Says late to stream. Curious of your opinion of real core purpose of the Corsair. I think, Vasily, the real purpose of the Corsair is just as a, multi-crew kind of runabout. This to me, I always like to group these ships, and this is probably wrong. I like to group these ships in like World of Warcraft terms, sort of. To me, the Corsair, the Connie, the ships like that, even like ships like the Cuddy and Freelancer, these are the ships that I think are your small group ships, right? These are when you and your buddies are in like a Warhammer and Elder Scrolls Online, 2 or 3 of you get together and you just go out and do a variety of missions, quests, or whatever. That's what the Corsair is for. I know a lot of people in Star Citizen just call it a daily runner, but it's just, to me, it's a good all-arounder, right? It's where a few friends get together and go accomplish some tasks together. And those are going to be the most popular ships in Star Citizen, 100%. So I think that's the Corsair's role. Obviously, they can dress that up with some lore. It's an explorer. It's got a lot of guns. It can fight a little bit. But all that's a little bit secondary, in my opinion, to the amount of people it's supposed to be used by, which is about 2 to 3 people. And that kind of determines what you can do with the ship, in my opinion. Name goes here, says, have you seen different performance from different browsers? I know some other fleet visualizations have different performance. Yeah, I mean, if you're talking about Starship 42, Lunfasy, who developed Starship 42, is I consider a friend. We do talk occasionally. He's been very supportive of Fleet Viewer, so we are very supportive of Starship 42. I really love Starship 42. But he's also doing real-time holo models. That's going to be more intensive because some of the holo models are not optimized, especially not optimized for browsers. So what he's been able to do with Starship 42 is pretty amazing. We do try to lean towards optimization, which is why we use a lot of pre-rendered assets, with all pre-rendered assets, to be totally honest. So yeah, we're always keeping an eye on performance. So Pathfinder says, very excited for the Drake Corsair. Yep, me as well. Yeah, Jag, again, if you're not playing with enough people to crew it, it's probably not the ship. You might want to bump down to Cutlass level or ships in that range. Exactly, Kappa, it's an explorer. You can explore the cargo of other haulers. Yeah, Bunker Fists, Nautilus. I'm real excited about the Nautilus. I'll go into why here in just a minute. Yeah, Mr. Dot, I'm also into the Perseus. I love the stylings of it. I don't know if I particularly need one. I did buy one with store credit. I melted it, so it's in buyback. I'm using that for other stuff. But I was actually just able to secure the War Thunder, like whatever it's called, Thundercloud, whatever it is, paint for it, which is really cool. So real quick, I'll tell you exactly why I like all these ships. So the Drake Corsair, actually, let me go ahead and unlock my canvas. Hey, a little bit of a pro tip for any of you all that use Fleet Viewer. If you're just browsing around and zooming in and out of your ships, lock your canvas. That way you can't click on anything and mess up your layouts. Also, switch your scroll from click scroll to smooth scroll, and it will allow you to quickly zoom in and out of Fleet Viewer. It's a good handy tip. I see a lot of content creators and stuff who are using Fleet Viewer don't seem to realize that, so check it out. Name Goes Here says, and what in your opinion will be the, and by the way, everyone, I'm running 2 chats here because I am simultaneously streaming through Restream on Twitch and YouTube. I'll try to catch questions from both chats. I am eventually going to have both chats on the screen here so you all can see them. Again, this is kind of my first go at just testing the equipment to see if it even works. So, what, in my opinion, will be the main functional differences between the Corsair and the Constellation Andromeda? Again, I think it's just different. It's different types of knives to do the same, or a different type of tool to do the same function. You know what I mean? It's probably the difference between using a wrench versus using a socket. You're still going to get the nut off, but ultimately you're just doing it in a different way. Some ships are going to be a little easier at doing certain things than others. I personally tend to prefer ships with ramps versus ships with vehicle elevators. So right away, I prefer the ramp on the back of the Corsair. I'll be totally honest with you right now. I love the Corsair for its design aesthetics. I think it's a really cool looking ship. So I don't know. I think the Corsair is going to be much more pilot focused ship. It's obviously got a lot of pilot controlled guns. It's very forward facing. So I feel like it's very centered around the pilot ship relationship, the pilot relationship and their duties. I think the Corsair is a ship that could start to be a little bit more actively crewed by other people. I mean, we'll see how the multi-crew factors into these smaller ships like this. Again, I think it's a lot of just subjective stuff. I mean, some people are going to like it, some people don't. Like I said, I personally love the Corsair styling, so I immediately gravitated to it. Twitch chat here, first time chat from Vex. Does locking the canvas stop the underlying ships from moving to the front? Yes, that's exactly why we did it. So if I place a ship on top of this Kraken right here and then lock the canvas, I can then click on things and it won't mess it up. Yep. So, and we're going to add to that feature in the future and allow you to lock specific ships. So instead of locking the entire canvas, you'll be able to lock a specific ship, and then that will allow you to much more easily place things on top of the Kraken. We're working on that. So, oh, Sigelian just raided with a party of 55. Hello to everyone. Hello to Sigelian. Thanks for that raid, buddy. Appreciate it. Got to meet Sigelian in person at Equinox. That was a lot of fun. And if you are in StarJump Fleet Viewer and you haven't checked it out yet, there is the Ultima Starfarer in there. You should go check that out. Thanks everybody for coming over and say hello. Feel free to follow the channel if you like what you see, or if you support StarJump Fleet Viewer and any of the projects we do. We really appreciate the follows and the support. We got a bunch of contests coming for November on both my channel and Ender's channel. Ender being the other member of StarJump. This month, though, I'll be giving away a Vulture and a Corsair, so pretty excited about that. Again, thanks for everyone raiding and coming and hanging out a minute if you want. We're talking the Drake Corsair and just kind of talking about StarJump Fleet Viewer and kind of what's to come, what's the next step there for Fleet Viewer, what we're going to do with it and add to it and stuff. Thanks for all the new follows coming in. Pathstrider, appreciate that. Yep. Starlet is still obviously part of StarJump. She is taking a little bit of a sabbatical right now and kind of just doing some other stuff. She's obviously really into VR, so she's doing a lot of stuff there and whatnot. But Starlet is still very much, part of what we do. Yeah, absolutely. G Sharp, thank you for the follow, man. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. Appreciate everyone stopping over and hanging out a bit. Gluteus Maximus. Okay, cool. I need to get my eyes checked. Appreciate that. Thanks for stopping by. Everyone, all my little links and stuff for the store and Patreon and all that. Stream Elements is popping them up, but the links aren't posted. I'm getting my streaming setup going again. It's been a while, so please bear with me. Ronan, thank you for that follow. Really appreciate you, man. Check leak. Appreciate that follow. Stretch. You know what? I do need to stretch. Let's crack it out. Oh, there we go. Yeah, appreciate that raid, Seg. Hope you are well. Really hope you're well. Lady Space Patrol says, I didn't realize the Corsair was smaller than the 400i. Well, let's pop that on here real quick. Yeah, so it's funny you mentioned that, Lady Space Patrol, because we kind of went through some stuff with this when we were building Fleet Viewer, especially in regarding certain ships and their size. Let me lock the canvas. So currently the Corsair is 55 meters long. However, I'll point out, hey, W. Allen, hopefully you're well. Good day to you as well. Salute to you. Real quick, so the Corsair in concept is 55 meters long. Now, we know they've developed the Corsair, and it's gone through production. It'll be releasing in 3.17.4. It's very likely to have grown some. So it might actually end up being about the same length as the 400i. Also, remember, too, length is sometimes different than actual usable space. So I think the Corsair is actually going to have a lot more usable space than the 400i. Oh, there's Ender. Hope you're well, buddy. Ender, I was just telling them earlier about all the stuff you are doing for Movember, and about you are going to have some awesome ship giveaways and all that good stuff, and to head over to your Twitch channel and your Twitter and follow those, subscribe to those, all that good stuff. Like I said earlier, everyone, Ender's doing some fantastic stuff for Guardians, and I'll just point out again that there's a lot of content creators out there that'll set aside a month or a week of every month or whatever to do charity stuff. Ender does it every day of every month throughout the entire year. So big salute to that commitment. And it's partly why Guardians kind of has its own name, even though it's like within the StarJump umbrella, because it's doing such important work that we felt like it needed its own name and its own prominence even outside of StarJump, right? So you can be a Guardians fan and be really involved in that, even if you don't really follow our other StarJump community at large. But StarJump Guardians is something really cool that Ender does. I try to help out where appropriate, but it's really all him. And big shout out for everything Ender does there. We're just talking about, oh, by the way, Ender, none of my Stream Elements things, it pops up, but the links don't pop up. So I got to fix that. I'm testing Restream right now. Everyone's saying it's working pretty good, though, in terms of audio and video. So some progress has been made. And that's what this is today, everybody. Just kind of a general test. We are talking a little bit ships. We talked a little bit about Fleet Viewer, what's to come with Fleet Viewer, and the future of Fleet Viewer, which is known as Fleet Command, a much bigger project. All right. So anyways, going back to the Corsair, Lady Space Patrol brought up that she didn't realize that the 400i was longer than the Corsair. And the Corsair's link, though, and this particular model here is from the concept mesh. The ship has obviously gone through a full development phase now. So once the ship is in the game files on the PTU, we will export it via StarFab and and replace this image in Fleet Viewer with the updated in-game model. And it's very, very likely that is a longer model. Ships tend to grow when they go through development pipeline. So you could probably expect the Corsair to get to 60 meters or so like that. It would not surprise me. But going back to usable space again. So even though the 400i is longer, you got to remember some of that length is taken up by this nose section here, plus this rear section back here where this turret's mounted on is not usable. So in terms of usable habitable space, the 400i is probably 35 meters long in terms of usable space. One thing about the Corsair is that it's really front, like nose to tail is usable space. The cockpit is all the way in the nose. You come back here to the central hub, airlocks, turrets. Then you have the central hab and mess hall. And then that goes back into the utility components room. And then you're all the way back into the hangar. So that's something to remember, is that the Corsair is usable space throughout. Now, that doesn't matter. That doesn't make the ship better or worse. I think the 400i is going to be a lot better for some people. Corsair will be a lot better for some people. Again, a lot of this is very subjective. A lot of it's very subjective. Bunkerfist says Connie is a better compare. Possibly. I do personally think the Constellation series is a better comparison to the Corsair in terms of probably usable size. And I feel like the 400i does sit in a kind of a weird, like, niche class of its own. I would also put ships like the Polaris into niche classes, and I can go into that a little bit more here in a second. Yeah, so Corsair will probably grow, though. If I had to guess, I think it could end up around 60 to 63 meters long, somewhere around there. I don't think it will get much longer than that. And let me unlock this canvas here. I'm going to move that there, and let me spawn a we'll do the Aquila, since it is the exploration variant. Let me relock my canvas here. Remember what I said, everyone, locking your canvas is a good idea. So yeah, it's, you know, the Constellation Aquila is 61 meters long, 400i is 60 meters long. I think the Corsair will grow. I think it's probably reached somewhere around 60 meters long. As we get closer to 3.17.4, I'm sure CIG is going to be doing a bigger expose on the Corsair, and we'll probably get its final stats. Penguin Plays, hope you're well. Appreciate you stopping by, hanging out with us again. Everyone that came over from Sigelian's Raid, thank you so much. Let's see here. Yeah, it's exactly Earthbound. It comes down to space usage and how, but again, the funny thing is, just because a ship has more usable space doesn't mean it's laid out better, right? Some ships have a lot of internal usable space that are laid out horribly. So that, you know, again, it doesn't always work out in that way. I think it's going to be subjective to every ship. Now, one thing I do like about the Corsair versus, say, a ship like the MSR, and I do love the MSR. Ask Ender. Ender will tell you, I still think the MSR is probably one of the best bangs for buck you can get in Star Citizen. Oh, 1 second, everybody. Everyone knows that I think the MSR is a great deal. I think it's a lot of ship for the amount of money. But the one thing I don't love about the Star Runner is its kind of twisty, turny interior. Now, I love that on certain ships, and I love that from a role play perspective. But one thing I like about on a daily driver is I like it to be easy in, easy out. And the Corsair kind of has that. It's essentially a long hallway. That's all it is. You can get in from the rear ramp, or you can go up the front elevator. So you have two entry modes. It's one long hallway. You can't get lost. That's perfect for a daily driver, in my opinion. Penguin Play, salute to you as well. Hope you are well. Thank you for that follow, Penguin, Admiral Kusanagi, Firewire Bug, and Solomon the Vengeful. Thank you for those follows. Really appreciate it. I'm going to have my blings and bloops and all that stuff pop up when people do follow. Again, I've got to get my streaming set up, reset up. Please bear with me on that. All my stream elements shit is broken. I'll fix it. Anyway, the Corsair is going to fit some people's playstyle and not other people's playstyle. So I personally, again, am really looking forward to it. I'll back out here. Let me unlock my canvas. We're going to go ahead and I'm going to delete this for a second and delete this one for a second. Relock my screen. So what I was saying earlier is that there's kind of 5 ships I am waiting on. These are ships that I consider like key gameplay things I want to get into, and I was going to go through those. So we just talked about the Corsair. That's going to be kind of like my daily driver. I've been working. I've been waiting on that ship for a long time. I worked a lot on this model, actually getting it pretty. So I'm more than happy though for this model to be replaced by the in-game model, which I'm sure looks way better. Let's talk a little bit about the next ship on my list, which is the Nautilus. Now I have the Solstice Edition here, which is the Nautilus I have. The Nautilus is the type of gameplay I think I'm really going to be excited to do in Star Citizen when it comes to combat gameplay. In my opinion, it's a defensive ship, but it's also a bit of a frontliner, believe it or not. A lot of people think, the only role this ship will have will be setting up a minefield and then heading out of there. I see it as a much different type of gameplay loop. One of the things I think mines will be most useful for is it can carry 24 size 5 mines. One of the things I will use it primarily for is setting up essentially warning nets around area of operation. So if I'm doing a big mining operation, or if I have my Kraken parked somewhere, hopefully I can let an org member use the Nautilus to set up essentially maybe it's 12 mines this way and 12 mines this way, at whatever range, encircling that area of operation. And essentially the mine layer will be sitting in his console, and they'll be able to see whenever a mine is moving and tracking a target, right? So that's one of the things they've talked about in the documentation that those mine layers are going to be able to do. They'll be able to track when a mine is moving and making its way for a ship. And even if it doesn't destroy the ship, I'm less concerned about that. Just seeing that mine moving is essentially an enemy tripping the laser, tripping the warning net. And that's going to let the fleet know, or whoever's in that area with me know that, hey, we have somebody inbound. The net's been tripped, that someone's jumped the fence, so to speak. So I'm really excited of it from that type of gameplay perspective. Also, a lot of people tend to forget that one of the mines this thing can deploy is our sentry guns, right? Sentry guns would be perfect too. While I don't think they're going to destroy any ships, especially any large ships, as soon as you see one of those sentries going off, it's targeting something that shouldn't be there. Checkleak says that's how my org views using our Nautilus. Yeah, Check. I mean, again, it's a lot of people. There's a lot of discussion about the size 5 mines and their potency, and how that's going to how effective those mines are going to be. And well, for one, I don't think the Nautilus was ever intended to be a capital killer. So I was never expecting size 10 mines. Again, 9 times out of 10, players are going to be flying around their Cuddies, their Corsairs, their Constellations, their Arrows, ships like that. And these size 5 mines are going to be a bad day for those ships. But yeah, I view it the same way. I think 24 size 5 mines are going to be extremely potent. To be used in a kind of first line of defense way, to where you're setting up these warning nets. Now, one thing I hope they do is, now they've stated it can hold 24 size 5. I would love for this thing to be able to hold 40 size 3 mines. And that would be perfect for that SOSUS warning net type gameplay, because then you don't really care about the potency of the mine. You're just really wanting a lot of mines to spread out in that field. Now, we haven't heard of the range of those mines, but I think in one piece of documentation it was stated that those mines would be able to lock on and track a target that's 10,000, 15,000, maybe even 20,000 kilometers away, just one mine. So if you're spreading 24 of those out with a 20,000 kilometer gap in between them, you're covering a big damn distance. This is what a lot of people forget about those mines. I forget what piece of documentation it's in. It might be the Q&A for the Nautilus. It might be the original brochure for the Nautilus, but someone asked how long would it be able to track, and that was roughly the distance. So Solomon says, I wonder if there'll be any interdiction mines. I hope so. I mean, one thing to know, let me see if I can bring it up here, since everyone's on chat with me and we're talking about the Nautilus. I'll show you something that's pretty cool here. Let me open this up. Is that in the RSI progress tracker, we'll go to deliverables and we'll go to space mines. Mines. So space mines at one point only had about 3 months of work on them. I think they had started in May and they went to like July or August. It wasn't a long time. But since then, and those teams did their work, but now additional teams were assigned. Let's see, who is it? Is it the narrative team or the VFX team? So anyways, additional work has been done or scheduled for here. And I'm wondering if this work got extended. One of two reasons. One, it's a downstream team, which is possible. Or two, they've just got big plans for mines. I hope this initial space mines, I hope it's the size 5 Tephra homing mine, and then maybe a size 3 smaller mine. That would be great. I don't think we're getting the turret sentries yet, although that would be really cool if that was included in this. So again, here's the interesting thing, and I forget who brought this up to me, but someone was asking like, well, why is this being delayed so long and this team doesn't jump on it till almost a year later? And I 100% think this is about PES, so persistent entity streaming and server meshing. They want server meshing and specifically persistence to be on board and running well for the mines. Okay, so if you figure mines are coming in, or persistent entity streaming is coming in Q4 of this year, so around where we're at, maybe in December, and then maybe in Q1, Q2, maybe we get 3.19 somewhere around here, which has updates to persistent entity streaming. If they can then release space mines somewhere in Q2, Q3, what better test bed for persistent entity streaming would be the mines, because they need to persist regardless. So to me, there's no better test bed for PES than these Nautilus mines. I know a lot of people are like, oh, I want to be able to test dropping my water bottle on a moon and coming back to it. That's fine, but these mines are an even better test bed for it. And the only thing, though, that could hold this up from being released, in my opinion, is I don't know if space mines and persistence of space mines, I don't know if they're going to want to have some sort of matchmaking service working before they do that, because maybe they don't want to have you dropping mines in one server only to log back out, log into a different server, and your mines exist on another server. They probably want to matchmake you to the server your mines were on. So we'll have to see how that works out. Julius Thread, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. Salute to you. Hope you are well. Again, everyone that came over from Seg's channel, thank you so much for stopping by. Starjump and Segelian, we are friends and try to support each other. Met Seg in person finally at Equinox. And Segelian even has a ship in Fleet Viewer, the Ultima Starfare. I got a first time chat here from Wayland2503. How do you see the lane of mines will work? It would be great if the navigator can place a waypoint grid or something so the pilot can make a perfect circle. So, Wayland, the funny thing is that was asked about. I forget if it was in the Q&A or I think it was the Q&A. Someone asked about being able to set certain minefield parameters and then the ship be able to follow those tracks. I do believe it was stated that there's no plans for that it's going to be very much a manual process. But I'll tell you what would be cool is if there is some sort of communication between the mine layer operator, whether that's an engineering role or what have you, but that role and the pilot role, and being able to communicate in some way to be able to make minefields of a certain shape, whether that's a long linear line, which should be pretty easy, you're just flying straight, or circular, or do, one row and then a parallel row, etc. So that would be really cool to see. I hope they do talk a little bit about that. So yeah, Julius, thanks for stopping by. That's a great question, though, Waylon. I think you should go read that Nautilus Q&A if you haven't already. I believe it talks about that in there. Okay. Apparently on YouTube, we're getting a really classy advertisement. We're going to go ahead and remove that. We're going to report it and remove it. Got to do the work here. Stand by. I need moderators. That's what I need. Okay. Hopefully I got rid of those. Admiral Kusanagi says, I know you have to maintain them, so if you're jumping servers, they'll eventually blow up or disappear or whatever if you haven't touched them in like a week. Yeah, Admiral, exactly. 100%. I think that's what they've said. I hope the cooldown timer is something like a few days, maybe even like 2 days, but then maybe you can put different fuses. I hope there's some ways to extend the life if you put more money into the mines, or maybe there's mines that have a longer degradation breakdown period and some that are shorter. Maybe the shorter ones are cheaper. I appreciate that posture check. Got to crack it out here. Appreciate that. Okay, Ronan posted this directly out of the Q&A. Thank you, Ronan. Says, that said, we expect each mine to have at least a minimum engagement radius of between 5 and 10 km. That's a minimum engagement range. Remember that. They'll pursue targets at a fair distance beyond that too, to allow relatively small quantities of mines to cover a moderately large area. So again, they're saying minimum. Obviously, that was back in concept phase. It's possibly changed. Hopefully it hasn't gotten less. Hopefully it's gotten larger. We'll see. But I'm a big fan of the Nautilus. The other thing I'll say about the Nautilus is I think the Nautilus has one of the best internal layout usages of any ship. I'm going to see here if I can bring that up real quick. Bear with me, everybody. Hope everyone's okay with me just waxing poetic here. So this is the Aegis Nautilus. By the way, thank you, Ronan, for posting that. This is the Aegis Nautilus brochure. Again, remember, the Aegis Nautilus is an old ship. It's got its 400th anniversary coming up. So this is a ship we might see in Squadron 42. It has 3 types of things that can be loaded into its mine ejection system. It's got the Firestorm Kinetics Tephra Homing Mine, which is the mine that Ronan is referring to here from the Q&A. It looks like this. You can actually spawn this in Fleet Viewer, by the way. A lot of people don't know that. You can type homing mine and it will pop up. It's got the Sentry Mine, the VLR-11 Sentry Mine's primary roles is perimeter defense. Let me see if I can talk today. Upon deployment, the mine lays dormant until a hostile target enters its range. When activated, it will fire its equipped weapons with high accuracy. I don't know if we know the size of these guns. I thought I read it was a size 4. 2 size 4s on this Sentry. And could you imagine holding 24 of those? Imagine if you spawn, and please someone correct me if I have the size of these damn guns wrong, but whether it's size 2 or size 4, whatever, could you imagine spawning 24 of those Sentries in a small area, and all of them are set to hostile on any target coming in? You're now talking about a hell of a lot of firepower. And remember, you can mix and match. The Nautilus has 4 mine ejectors on its backside, so you could have 2 of your mine ejectors throwing out Tephra homing mines and 2 other ones ejecting these damn Sentry mines. Pretty cool. And then last but not least, it can obviously carry the Nemo, the Saga Data Systems tailor-made Nemo drone. It stands for Neutralize and Employ Mine Ordnance. These are mine sweepers, mine deactivators, mine retrievers, all that. So it has been stated, too, that the Nautilus will be able to hold the repair drones and other type of drones. So pretty cool. Magyan Salo, first time chats. Thanks for stopping by. To do blocks and so on, it's going to be a big need. Yeah, absolutely. I think the Nautilus, that's what it's going to be for, 100%. So Nautilus, let's break down. So this is what I wanted to talk about. The Nautilus has, in my opinion, one of the best layouts of any ship. Top deck, obviously, is kind of the mine lane area here. Or sorry, I don't know what this is actually. I think this might be some... Oh, it's the mine depot. That's where all your mines are safely stored. and the mine control room is located on this deck, and then the central lift. So there's a central lift right here in the central of the ship. When we go down to the main deck, boom, you'll see how well this is laid out. I mean, it's literally utilizing every bit of this ship. This center area is utilized by the sweep deck, and I'll show that in a minute. But I mean, you'll see here that almost every inch of this ship is utilized, and that's really great. We have everything from the dual size 7 guns up here. I believe these are going to be the same guns used on the Ares Ion. We have, of course, the captain's quarters. It does have a captain's quarters. We have escape pods in this as an Aegis ship, so of course it has escape pods. It does have a docking collar. It also has turrets on both the port and starboard side. Crew quarters, probably a smaller crew quarters, but glad it has one. The central lift, which I discussed, it goes to all 3 decks. Again, the Nautilus does have 3 decks. I haven't talked about the Polaris yet, Magyar, but I'm going to get there for sure. The mess hall, of course, got to have like a nice little area for your crew to get together, talk about all the mines they just laid. And then the engine control room, that'll obviously be for the engineer. Now, moving on down to the sweep deck. Now, you'll see this kind of wraps around in this kind of Y shape, filling up the ship, and then this kind of fills that center area. This is the sweep deck. This is where our drone bay is. It'll probably output the sweeper drones right here underneath the front. And then we have the central lift again. Cargo bay has 64 SEU of cargo, not terrible for this ship, being that it's a mine layer. And then obviously back here, the mine bay. This is where the mines will be loaded through the 4 ejectors. You can see one here, one here, one here, and there's one underneath, and they throw the mines out. Ronan says, the Sentry mine has 2 size 2 hard points stated in the brochure. Okay, so appreciate you finding that. So again, 2 size 2 hard points times 24. We're now talking about, that's what, 68 size 2 guns firing at you. That could be a bad day for anybody, if in fact we can carry 24 of those Sentry mines. I mean, there's nothing to state that you couldn't dump all those in a very relatively tiny little area. So, you know, that could be a lot of firepower. Again, a lot of people think of the Nautilus as just laying homing mines over a huge area, and that's all it does, and those size 5 mines aren't going to do anything to bigger ships. But we do have to think of the Nautilus a little bit differently. I think that's why I like the Nautilus so much, is that it requires you to think about tactics a little bit and strategy. So a big Nautilus fan, really looking forward to that one coming up. Yeah, Julius, it's like 8 Tanas, right? Nador Pritz, not sure if it's already been discussed. What is Grimm's impression of the 600i rework? So real quick, I like the 600i. I actually have one in buyback. I like the interior rework they showed. It still felt a little too, the Explorer module still felt a little cold and empty to me. I personally, and I feel like that's with all Origin ships, it feels just a little cold and empty. However, the touring model was gorgeous. I loved how they brought a lot of the 890 stuff into it. It pretty much makes me want to get a 600i Explorer, or sorry, a touring model for like VIP transport. Yeah. Pierre and Droggle, salute to you. Hope you're both well. Sheepy says, this is in YouTube, everyone. If it's going to be able to have repair drones, you might be able to set up an area where your crew repairs while the turret mines protect. Exactly, Sheepy. That's a thing. This could be a great protector for industrial fleets, not even just military fleets. You know what I mean? It could be a great, warning net for mechanics to be repairing stuff, or miners to be mining. All that good stuff. Hell, even if you're on the surface of a planet, you could set a minefield in orbit above your general location. That way, if any of those start pinging off, boom, the people on the ground will know. The Nautilus can radio them and say, hey, we've got ships entering right above you. And then the ground crews can prepare. So, yeah, again, I think the 600i is a beautiful ship exterior. The interior leaves a lot to be desired. The new rework is definitely better. I think it's just something about Origin interiors that feel a little cold and almost uninviting to me. I will say the 400i, though, was a big improvement. So if they're bringing some of that vibe and feel into the 600i, then I'm completely on board. Completely on board. 1 second. All right, so let's go to the next ship on my list. I know someone asked about the Polaris. Let's just move right over to the Polaris. So this is the RSI Polaris. One thing to note, and I think this is the only ship we did this to. Let me think. Yeah, I think this is the only ship we did this to. The Polaris, we actually we took a guess on how long we think it's going to be. Okay, let me catch up here on a couple things here. Julius, thank you for your follow. I think I thanked you, and I do appreciate it. Magion Salo and Agent 1213, thank you so much for your follows. Really, really appreciate it, everyone. Trying to get us to 1,000 followers. We're at 980, pretty close. So thank you for those follows. You all are awesome. Thank you for coming over from Seg's channel and his community. Seg's a good guy, and I'm sure he makes a lovely pizza. One day I'll get to try some. Anyway, the RSI Polaris. So the Polaris was probably the third ship that I said, I want that. I can't get it right now, but I want it, right? First it was the Kraken, then it was the Corsair, then came the Nautilus, then came the Polaris. And as my good friend Ender, who may or not be still in chat, knows, I'm a big submarine fan, not just in like movies, but in real life. I love the role of it, the feel of it, the kind of the fantasy behind submarine stealthy, you're in, you attack, you're out type gameplay, or type military role. And so the funny thing here is, and my dad worked for a company that is one of the primary builders of submarines for the U.S. He didn't work for that company, but he worked for the larger company that owns that company. And while I don't think the Polaris is the submarine of Star Citizen, CIG has built their own lore around that. So in just kind of getting behind that idea and buying into their, quote unquote, this is the submarine of Star Citizen, it made me love the Polaris. I love that it's this big torpedo boat that's fast, light armor, and the other big thing with it is it has a capital size radar. It's the only ship in Star Citizen that is slated to have a capital size radar. And I personally hope that we'll hear more about that. I personally hope that we'll hear that, there's some advantages to that. I'm hoping it's like that damn radar, I'm hoping can scan 40% of a system. You know what I mean? Alexander says, Polaris is there to burn your money. Yeah. Well, it's a good point, Alexander. I do agree with you. I think the Polaris is going to be one of the biggest money sinks in the game, without a doubt. Those size 10, the fact that it can hold, was it 24, 26, size 10 torps? Yeah, this thing's going to be a huge money sink. But I actually think, that's interesting, Denizen. What did you hear about the drones for SQ-42? Type that up in chat. I may have missed CIG announcing anything. But I agree with you, Alexander. This ship's going to be a big money sink. I will say that I think the Polaris is going to be a good command and control ship, especially if its capital size radar is going to have a big differentiator even from just large radars. Okay, that could really make or break this ship, because I think a lot of people are buying into the Polaris because it's going to have the ability to scan huge swaths of area. That's one of the main reasons I got it. The torpedoes are great. I am interested in that kind of gameplay, but I really am interested in this ship for its scanning ability. If CIG released a ship that was more radar scanning EWAR focused, I would definitely buy into it. Whether it's a bigger or smaller ship, I don't really care. I love the role. So, real quick here. Let me catch up on a few things. One thing we do know is that the Polaris is somewhere between 156 meters long and 199 meters long. It originally was spec'd to be 175 meters, and it was originally expected, to be 155 meters long. John Crew did say about 2 Invictuses ago that the Polaris has grown. He says not by a lot. He says it has grown though, but it's still sub 200. So if we take that into account, it's somewhere between 156 and 199. That's about the best info we got. So to kind of split the difference for Fleet Viewer, we made it 175 meters. I'm truly hoping Jared surprises us at IAE and shows off the interior rework of the Polaris. He kind of hinted that he was going to try to do that. I would love to see the interior rework of the Polaris and hopefully a new metric for it. Give us a new size for the Polaris. If we get that, then we will obviously redo this model a bit and try to get Fleet Viewer updated. Let's see here. Denizen says, John Crew said something about them needing a basic drone interface, but who knows how soon. Cool. Well, they're working on, they're getting building blocks integrated and everything. So maybe that's something that's not as far off as one would think. So appreciate you putting that in there. Let's see here. Yeah, I mean, I expect the Polaris to get a pretty big rework. However, John Crew did say it retained pretty much most of its exterior look. He actually said that hadn't changed that much, which I'm actually very happy about. The Polaris is also one of the coolest looking ships, in my opinion. I know some people are concerned about the struts at the beginning. I'm not personally. The scale of the Polaris, you're actually going to be pretty small in there. It's going to be a lot like the Javelin or the Idris Bridge. They have struts, but you're so small in there that the struts aren't really a problem. So, that's the thing, Pierre. We haven't seen what the interior rework of this ship is going to be. They apparently did a full rework of the interior, so we can expect a pretty massive redo of what's going on with it. So, I think the Polaris, viewers help me out. Is the Polaris still like $700 or something like that? I think it's that, but it's no longer hull limited. So, Penguin Play says like the Endeavor. Yeah, the Endeavor's a whole other story. It's a big discussion there. Yeah, Drago, a lot of people do say, okay, everyone's saying $750 for the Polaris. Droggle says, the only problem about the Polaris isn't the hangar, it's the rest. Oh, okay, sorry. No, Droggle says, only thing you're not a fan of is the bridge positioning. Yeah, it's up here in front. It's got a forward, very, front-leaning kind of design to it. I personally like it. I understand why a lot of people don't. I think a lot of people are really liking the, the Perseus for its bridge position, which is kind of interesting because it's almost, in my opinion, almost kind of the updated RSI look. And funny enough, I actually really hope that whatever redesign was done to the exterior of the Polaris, I hope that I'll do that for you. G Sharp, stand by. Real easy. StarJumpFleetViewer.com. Go check it out. I hope that the Polaris takes some of the Perseus design cues. I think that'd be really cool. The Rev Trev, thank you for the follow. Really, really appreciate it, everyone. Again, thanks everybody for the follows. Marching this channel right along to 1,000 followers. We're getting closer and closer. We're at 981. Thanks for everybody pushing it along. Appreciate that. Salute to you, Rev Trev. Okay, let's move on to the next ship. We talked about the Polaris a bit. We talked about the Nautilus a bit, talked about the Corsair a bit. Let's go to the next one that I'm really looking forward to. This was actually the ship that got me into Star Citizen. Like, not the ship that got me into Star Citizen, because I started following the project way back in the original Kickstarter. But this is one of the ships that really got me out of like the starter ship mindset. Before, I was very much like, all I care about is the starter ships. I'm just going to fly a starter ship. I'm going to keep it low, keep the price low. This is the ship that sucked me into concierge and pretty much started draining me dry at that point. Magyan says Kraken will be my goal in game. That is probably one of the best things to do, is make this an in-game goal ship, 100%. Via Nocturne, good afternoon. Salute to you. Hope you're well. Got a couple people in chat. McColwright, hopefully I'm saying that right. Salute to you as well. Thanks for everybody for stopping by. Anyway, the Kraken. It was the concept art that got me going for the Kraken. The Kraken. First off, I love all Navy ships. I just love, whether it's World War II battleships, modern day aircraft carriers. I'm just a big fan of them. A lot of people don't like that the Kraken leans so heavily into being an aircraft carrier. I absolutely love it for that reason, 100%. It's the big Avengers hover carrier, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I agree, Stuicus. I think it's the best looking ship in the game. I love it. And I think it was about 2 Invictuses ago, maybe, yeah, 2 Invictuses ago. Me and my wife did some stuff. We sold a house, and I ended up making just some good play money, and me and my wife both decided, she could buy something that's completely nonsensical for her. I was going to buy something completely nonsensical for me, and that was going to be it, because I'm not in the habit of just buying expensive ships. And I was worried that I wouldn't be able to snag it, but I was able to quickly snag this a couple Invictuses ago, and I'll be honest with you, I don't regret it. I know it's a long time out. Probably won't see this ship in game for years. I'm still happy I got it. I can't wait for this ship, because to me, this ship, and if any of you all watch Ender and his streams, he talks about this a lot, and I could not agree with Ender more. And this probably becomes from me and Ender playing games for so long like we have, that this is one of the best platforms for emergent gameplay in the entire game. And I think CIG could make a smaller ship that does that too. But this ship can literally be used for anything in the game. Industrial platform, combat operations, salvage operations, trading operations, just everything. I mean, it really encompasses everything. Bruce over in YouTube says, I would love to see an Anvil version of the Kraken. 100%, Bruce. I think there needs to be a competitor to the Kraken. I would love if that was Anvil. I think the Liberator was maybe supposed to be that, and it just doesn't quite get there. Those of you that know Fleet Viewer, though, if you haven't found this in Fleet Viewer, you can. There's a secret kind of Easter egg ship in here we put called the Super Liberator, which is a much bigger Liberator with quadruple pads, big Valkyrie wings and engines. It was more of a joke thing, but honestly, that's what I want out of Anvil. Maybe it's not that big, maybe it's something like that, but I would love a bigger bigger Liberator type ship. I think that would be absolutely amazing. Let me go ahead and delete that, and we'll lock the canvas again. Catch up on a couple questions here. Yeah, Druggle, it's a huge bunch of money. It's still a long way out. Wait, feel free to wait. Bruce, what's up, man? Hope you're well. Let's see here. Sorry, I know I missed a question here. Someone asked, okay, it was Nador, says, what's your broad evaluation between the Idris and Kraken? I can talk about that just a second. I know I missed a question here, though. Okay, Agent 1213 over in Twitch asked a question, says, will ships be sellable to NPCs? Not like just random NPCs, I don't think, but I think you'll be able to go to ship stores and sell your ships. I think you'll take probably a nasty hit on profit. You probably won't do that great from a profit standpoint, but I do think you'll be able to do it. Yeah. So anyways, I think this is going to be one of the best emergent ships in the game. If we're, talking, and someone else just mentioned the Idris, maybe trying to decide between the Idris and the Kraken. Obviously, there's various different variants of the Idris M, P, and K. The M is the military variant. The P is the civilian variant, and then the K is the upgrade for that. We'll go ahead and spawn the K real quick here. And let me move that over, and we'll do a little bit of a discussion between the two. So why would you choose one of these, one over the other? Well, here's my thoughts on it, and this is completely subjective. Do not mistake what I'm about to say as any sort of Idris hate. I think the Idris is actually a really cool ship. If they were just giving them away, I would definitely take one. But to me, they're two different styles of play and two different end goals. And it's primarily due to two things for me. And it's not to do with the railgun or the size 10 energy beam or anything. The Twitch link for this stream, let me pop that in there for you if you want to watch on Twitch. It is Starjump Grim. That's the Twitch link if you want to watch it over there. Feel free to watch it on YouTube or Twitch though, either one. I'm trying to catch questions in both. I got to get my chat all worked out, everybody. Thanks for bearing with me as my streaming setup is a complete shit show right now. To me, the ultimate difference between the Kraken and the Idris is going to come down to armor and protection. Obviously the Kraken holds ships on its exterior. The Idris holds them inside an internal hangar. Oh, by the way, for those of you who are wondering what might be coming to Fleet Viewer version 2, we might have a hangar view available for the Idris in the future. We're working on that. But that's going to be primarily one of the things you're looking at here is protection, but then also specifically armor. You got to remember the Idris is a military ship. It has it's going to have heavy armor, and the Kraken is not. The Kraken is only going to be able to have industrial components, and those industrial components will be maxed out at size 3, 4, whatever the ultimate size, whatever that end size is. But yeah, so different roles there. I think one is more utility, emergent gameplay leaning. One is more combat, military operation leaning. I'll go into some more of that here in just a second. Salvin says Fleet Viewer version 2 ? Yes. So Fleet Viewer is always continuously updated. However, we are eyeballing features we want to add for what we refer to as a formal version 2 of Fleet Viewer. These are probably going to be more robust and extensive features. They might even include things like additional angles, maybe 360 views, maybe some ships will have landed states, some ships will not. Just depends on if the ship needs a landed state. A lot of other features, being able to lock individual ships, being able to group ships, all kinds of cool stuff. But Fleet Viewer version 2 is just a stepping stone to a larger project that we are working on called Starjump Fleet Command. And let me grab some links here real quick for you all. And Starjump Fleet Command is a really cool project that's pretty in-depth. It's a little bit hard to run through all here now. But the really cool thing about Starjump Fleet Command is that I'll probably be giving a kind of visual pitch presentation to Starjump Patreon members probably this weekend on it to kind of give them a little bit of peek behind the scenes, and then to the rest of the Starjump community probably at a future date when things have been solidified a little bit more. But I have a pretty cool visual presentation for Starjump Fleet Command, and I'm going to probably present that to Patreon members this weekend. Curses Breaker, Zawasi, thank you so much for the follows. Thank you, everyone. I'm catching up on those. Stream Elements is being a little slow with those alerts for me, but thank you so much for the follows. Salute to you. We're onward and upward to our 1,000 followers mark. I would love to hit 1,000 followers. I guess I'd be one of the semi-cool kids at that point. But anyways, yeah, so Starjump Fleet Viewer version 2 and then Starjump Fleet Command is kind of our roadmap for that project. I'm also currently working on a new Star Jump cinematic. For those of you that really enjoy our cinematics, I'm working on kind of an RSI cinematic, but that might be turned into just a Star Citizen Invictus cinematic or something. I don't know. I'm working on it, but I'm doing some R&D on it because I'm utilizing some new rendering technology that I hope will make it look even much better. So, hey, Denizen, thank you for the follow. Thank you so much. Everyone that's following, thank you so much. And you know what? I'm glad all you are following, because this month, or for November, I'm going to have 3 giveaways, actually. I'm going to be giving away a Drake Vulture, a Drake Corsair, gotta love the Drake ships, and then probably either a Tobii eye tracker or an Elgato Stream Deck. I'm trying to decide. I'm trying to see which one of those I can finagle. But then also don't forget Ender over on StarJump_Ender on also on Twitch. He'll be giving away a bunch of ships for November, and that's all for charity. Huge deal. You're going to see us propping that up more and more as we get closer. But yeah, he's always doing ship giveaways and stuff. So if you're a fan of Star Jump and you want to enter some ship giveaways, you come to the right place and you're following at the right time. So Juxa, thank you for the follow. Rooster Rage, thank you for that follow. Again, thank you so much. I will be streaming this weekend. Probably, I'll either be streaming tomorrow or Saturday. But regardless, I think it's Saturday, I will be doing a more formal announcement and how to enter those contests. You won't have to spend no money or do anything hard to enter them. It's probably just going to be a member of the channel, something simple like that. More stuff to encourage the community to hang out. And then on Ender's channel, the charity ship giveaways, usually you have to donate $5 to charity, which he has a Tiltify link there too. But donating $5 to charity enters you into that charity. And because it's a charitable donation entry, there's actually sometimes not like a ton of entries, so your chance of winning is pretty high. So very cool. And it all goes to charity. Ender doesn't touch any of that money. It goes straight into charity. Again, big hats off to him for that. Okay, let me catch up on a few things. So yes, if you are interested in getting sneak peeks and Fleet Command and helping support Star Jump projects, you can always become a member of our Patreon. I'll post those links in here. You don't have to, though. It's not required to be a Patreon supporter to get access to any Star Jump projects. All of our projects are 100% free to everybody when we release them. Sometimes, though, on Patreon, we do give early previews and stuff. And we do have a Patreon. It's a higher tier reward, but we do have a high tier Patreon reward that will actually unlock being able to get your own ship in Fleet Viewer. So, for example, let me go to Hammerhead. So, for example, Crash Corpse, our good friend Steel Mary, Drake Steel Mary, was a Patreon subscriber at the top tier and ended up getting one of his orgs, Hammerheads, in there. And doing that allows you to get, let me switch this to high def. Doing that obviously gets you ship of your choice in the colors that you choose and decals and logos and stuff for your org, as long as they don't violate any as long as they're not explicit or too crazy, you'll get that ship put in the Fleet Viewer at those top tiers. But I want to stress, don't do it if you're strapped. It's more just for people who want to. We're also I'm going to be doing, for those of you that do have some ships that I owe you into Fleet Viewer, those are probably coming in at our IAE update. I have about 8 supporter ships that I got to get in, and those will be coming during the IAE update. We try to wait for events like that just so that we can push everything in at once. But yeah, it's a great way to support Star Jump. It allows me and Ender to do things. For example, a lot of the Star Jump Patreon funds over the last month allowed Ender to come out and rent a car and drive to Ohio so Star Jump could be present at the Equinox event, which is really, really cool. So thank you, Patreon people, for helping support that. Rooster Rage, subscribe to Prime. Thank you, Rooster. Appreciate it. Salute to you. Hope you're well. Thanks for hanging out with us today. Let's see here. What do we got? Let me catch up a little bit, everybody. Let me catch up a little bit. Zalcy, we talked a little bit about the Perseus. Not really, though, but we might talk about the Perseus. Let's see here. Sorry, I'm catching up, everyone. Catching up. Thank you again for everyone bearing with me. My Twitch setup and streaming setup's still a bit of a mess. Yeah, and if you haven't, you know what? Let me pull up. We have an awesome Discord community. Ender is kind of our community manager there. We have a really cool StarJump Discord. If you are not over on that Discord and you like Discord, head over there. I'm posting the link now. Join our Discord. We have a really cool community there, a really friendly community. Everyone has a good time. Stop in, say hello. Myself, Ender, Starlet, VMXEO, who's now a kind of a permanent host of StarJump Station, is in there. We're all in there. Come hang out. But anyways, going back to the Idris and Kraken. So in addition to that emergent gameplay and armor being two primary differences, obviously you can't ignore the elephant in the room. Their armament is quite different, right? So the Idris relies on its size 10 railgun, or in the case of the K upgrade kit, I believe it's a size 10 energy weapon. And then it does have a lot of other turrets, has a missile launcher and some other stuff on it. The Kraken almost entirely relies on its turrets, and it has a lot of them. And up here at the front of the ship, it has a size 8 dual turret. Okay, so the Kraken is pretty well armed. It's definitely no slouch. And the other cool thing about the Kraken is it has a 360 degrees of protection with those turrets. Okay, so that's key. That's pretty important. But also don't forget, the Kraken can hold ships that can protect it, right? And while the Idris is really limited by the ships it can carry, it's really like Gladius size ships, to be totally honest with you, and not much maneuverability, so you can't get them out quickly. There's kind of a process because the hangar inside the Idris, it's got this kind of shape to it that you can't maneuver around other ships in it. So it's kind of one in, one out. The Kraken, all ships on the pads can leave at once because it's open. They could just fly away. And plus with this medium pad, you can have some very dangerous ships on the pad of this, Eclipse, Redeemer, Scorpius. There's a lot of ships that can fit on the pad of the Kraken. So Matt Iber in YouTube says, how does one get ships in such detail? Matt, are you just referring to in Fleet Viewer here, the detail level we have them? How do we have them at this quality level? I think that's a question you are asking. And if that is a question you are asking, we make them. Some of the ships are pulled from game assets, like the Idris here. So some of those are game assets. Actually, you know what? This is in low res. Let me pop this to high res. Stand by. Got to load. Oops. There we go. And lock the canvas. So some ships are pulled from game files, like this one here. The Idris was pulled directly as its files represented in the game. And you can see that by being like some panel detailing here in the texture work and stuff, which is really nice. And then some ships that are concept ships that don't have that sort of stuff, I texture them and do all that stuff myself. I essentially take hollow models. I do all the texture work on them. I put lighting surfaces, glow surfaces, everything on them to get them looking hopefully pretty decent. Done that to the Kraken. I've done it to the Nautilus, did it to the Corsair, did it to the Pioneer, and did it to the Polaris and the Perseus. All these are concept ships. So I had to kind of build all those, to be totally honest with you. Alexander says, how long do you have for the Kraken? Looks elaborate. So the interesting thing about the Kraken model. So the Kraken model, I did texture, but I didn't have to do any model work to it. Now, other ships I did, like the Pioneer, Nautilus, Polaris for sure, Perseus for sure. Those required some modeling work for me. Ships like the Endeavor required a lot of modeling work. The Kraken did not, and that is because this model of the Kraken here is the model from the Kraken commercial that CIG did. the Drake Kraken commercial. This is the model from that commercial. Just retextured a little bit because while I had access to the model, I did not have access to the textures. So Andreas Rojas says, I have a Kraken thinking as an operations center for an organization. What do you think about it? I think that's perfect. I think the Kraken would be a great command and control sort of base headquarters. I mean, CIG themselves have even described it as a mobile space station, a mobile headquarters. So, one second here, everybody. Okay. So yeah, it's a mobile headquarters, mobile space station. So absolutely, that's a perfect role for it. It looks like the bad bots are stepping back in. Don't worry though, I will remove those as soon as I can once they pop up. Oops, here. Okay. Yes, so that is the Kraken. I just really enjoy it. I enjoy its layout. As a matter of fact, let me pull that up real quick here. Let's go to Kraken RSI. Death Trooper, salute to you. It's been a while since I've seen you. I hope you're well. Hope you are doing well. Those darn bots on YouTube. Let me remove that and report it. Got a report. Okay, I really need to get some moderators for this YouTube channel. I'm going to bring the Kraken transmission page from CIG up. Release the Kraken. Drake's first capital ship is here. You're welcome. This is the model from the cinematic that I was talking about that CIG did. Todd Roberts says, I really want an anvil carrier. I think it would look so good. Do you work on custom ships when manufacturers theme? I haven't yet, Todd. Well, I have a little bit, but I'm going to start doing that soonish. I'm working on some tool sets for that, but I want to start doing that. Ace Hambone, hello, Star Jump chat. Hello to you, Ace. Hope you're well. We are streaming on, just to catch everyone up, by the way, we are streaming on both Twitch and YouTube right now. I'm using Restream. I'm trying it out. Hope that's okay with everyone. So there are two chats that I'm kind of looking at here. Feel free to be in any one. If you've never been to our YouTube channel though, and our YouTube, please go check that out. Give us a follow. Our follows and our subscribers on YouTube are really falling behind. Like we don't have as much as a lot of other people, and they're not doing as unique of work that we do. So I would like to get those numbers up. Juan D, hello, salute to you as well. Thank you so much. Appreciate those kind words. But also our Twitch channel, we are trying to build up our subscriber base there. Our follow base or whatever they call it. So definitely head over to our Twitch channel as well. If you are watching this from YouTube, if you are a Twitch member, give us a follow there. But again, you're more than welcome to watch this on YouTube or Twitch. I don't really care which. Just glad to have you here chit-chatting. Death Trooper says, good, not working nights, some more. Oh, that's great, Death Trooper. Glad to hear it. Got a first-time chat from Red Stang Sr. Hope you're well, Red Stang. Thanks for stopping by. Have you looked into Prism Live Studio to multi-stream? No, I haven't, but I will now. Prism, you know what? Let me write that down so I can check it out. Okay, I got that notated down. Red Stang, thanks for letting me know about that. This is the Restream thing's kind of new, literally just trying it now for the first time, so I'll look into that. We're doing great with people watching. We got 37 over on YouTube, and we have a 50 on Twitch, so that is great, everyone. Thanks for hanging out with us. Talking about the Drake Kraken real quick here. Let's see here. So again, one of the things I really like about the Kraken is just its overall layout. Is this the one with the... You know what? This is not what I wanted to show. Let me close this real quick. Stand by, everyone, if everyone doesn't mind just hanging on just a minute. I'm trying to find something here. Everything's always hard to find, though, isn't it? But I have it. Don't worry. Okay, Power to the Pirates. That's what I'm looking for. Power to the Pirates. It's a Jump Point episode. Here it is. Okay, let's take a look at this. Okay, so this is the Drake Kraken jump point issue here. One of the things I really love about this is this layout page. We're going to zoom in and take a look here. For those of you that have never, seen this, this is the Drake Kraken layout. Red Stang says, heard about you guys from Reese, mostly due to the hanger tool thing, but happy to find you. Red Stang, thanks for stopping by, man. And thank you, Reese, for turning Red Stang on to us. Thanks for stopping by, hanging out with us. Yes, Neil over at YouTube says, Kraken will get a med bed. John Cruz said, yep, I know. Awesome. Glad it's getting one. Blue D. Let's see. Oh, we got a couple follows here. Let me mention that. Wolf, thank you for the follow. Really appreciate that. Rooster Rage following as well. Juxa, all you all. Thanks for all you all. Nope. Zawase. I hope I caught that last time. Zawase. Sorry if I can't pronounce these names. Thank you all for following, though. Really, really appreciate it. So here's the Kraken's layout. Here's what I like about the Kraken. And we're only seeing it from a split. You got to remember, there's going to be rooms within that Z depth as well that we can't see here. But I love the layout of this thing. I love just the way everything's stacked. I love how vertical it is. It's got that verticality that makes the ship feel really epic. It has these really long corridors. It has this air car. The air car is capable of carrying 4 people and 12 SCU. It's got a little tram car, and that's how long this damn ship is. I love it. Let me go back to our Fleet Viewer page here. Let's say someone says, do you think the Kraken will grow in size when it is flyable compared to older ship concepts have increased in size? I expect it to increase maybe a little, but not by like 20, 30, 40, 50 meters. It might be adjusted a little bit in terms of like 5 meters here, 2 meters here, whatever, just to account for some corridor adjustments for AI and stuff. The Kraken was developed in 2018. Thus, it is using current metrics. In talking with Paul Jones and some other, he's former CIG now, but some CIG people, the Kraken was developed at metrics. So it's actually sized appropriately, according to CIG. So I know there's some people that have out there that said the sizing is wrong. I don't know. I mean, it's 270 meters long. So I think there's going to be plenty of room to spread out in there, but it might grow a little bit in terms of, a few meters here, a few meters there. So, Jetix, thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. We're really climbing the follower ladder here. We're up to 989 followers. That's awesome. Onward to the march to 1,000 followers. That's great. Anyway, Drake Kraken, can't wait for it. Really love it. Definitely my favorite ship, right? It's my favorite ship for sure. Last but not least, we can talk about the Consolidated Outlands Pioneer. So this was another ship that required quite a bit of let's see, could you share the jump point of the Kraken, please? So the Kraken, I don't have a link to it actually because it's for subscribers only. So you have to be a subscriber for a link to work through CIG's site. I don't have a working link for it. If you are a subscriber with CIG though, you can go to the jump point issues, and I can tell you the issue is it's from October 2018, and it's called Power to the Pirates. If you're in our Discord, though, I can definitely send you a copy of it or something, though. That's fine. The Pioneer, again, ship I'm really looking forward to. I love industrial gameplay. You can kind of see that with my love for the Kraken, but I also love ships like the Vulture, and the Expanse is really cool and stuff. So I love the industrial gameplay. I'm going to be big into that when I play Star Citizen. So base building is something I'm going to be all about. So the Pioneer is something I was able to grab at last year's IAE. So really excited about that. I personally really hope, Pudu, I got it last IAE. Was really excited to get it. Lars Urban, hello. Hope you're well. Thanks for stopping by. The Pioneer has the potential to be one of the most sought after ships in game to either earn in game or for orgs to call upon. Like when you think of ships that let's not take 1,000 member orgs. I'm talking about an org with 50 players, 100 players. The Pioneer is one of those ships that it's out of all the ships, it's very likely they don't have one, but will be in need of one because every org, every player is going to want to build a homestead. So the Pioneer is really exciting because it's one of those ships that actually may kind of bring players together, and it may, it may promote players getting together, reaching outside their orgs, making contacts and stuff because it's going to be the builder, this builder ship. We don't really have another ship like this. Yes, there's been some leaks and some stuff maybe about a smaller manufacturing ship coming during this year's IAE, like a new concept ship. I don't know if that's true. None of my sources have said anything, but it's just something to remember that we will probably get more ships in this gameplay loop, but just probably in a different class because this is obviously a capital class 200-meter long ship. Yeah, and Andreas, that's what I was talking about. There's some rumors about an Argo MCV crafting vehicle. I don't know what that is. I would love if that is a smaller version of the Pioneer where maybe it can't craft full outposts, but it can craft certain things for your outpost. Like maybe it can craft a well system for water. Maybe it can craft a electrical stuff. I don't know. It'd be cool if there was like a sister ship to the Pioneer though. But really exciting. Here's the only thing about the Pioneer that I think is a problem, and I think they could easily adjust, especially since this is consolidated Outlands. So currently the Pioneer is supposed to land, and this arm down here that says, this one here with the little circular component and the solar array, this arm actually rotates out 90 degrees, right? And the ship actually widens out. So these panels here, these two long nacelle arms, they actually slide out a little bit, and then these panels open up. So this is a big ass ship anyways, 200 meters long, and I forget how wide, probably about 70 meters at its widest. But anyways, this is a big ship with a big footprint, but it actually gets even bigger. And the biggest issue I have with that is, where are you going to find a landing space for this when you're building an outpost on a moon? Does that mean your outpost is already going to have to be in an area that's flat so you can actually land this thing? I think the solution is to make this ship able to build in a hovering mode. We see it's got these massive VTOLs. I think this ship should be able to hover over an area, maybe about 30 meters above the ground, just hover. And it can manufacture the pieces and then sets them down. We already know Consolidated Outlands uses Gravlev tech, right? With the hover quad, with the Nomad and all that. I think the Pioneer should do the same thing. I think it should have hover capability, and it should hover above where the base is being built. I mean, could you imagine how epic that would be if you're one of those people that's on the ground and you're watching you hire another org to come in with their Pioneer and build stuff? You're going to see this massive ship hovering 20 meters above you, setting down these big things. I think that'd be so cool. Ash Hole, hope you're well. Thanks for stopping by and chatting. Says the bottom is open. 3D printers need a base. Yeah, totally. And I get that. I'm almost wondering though if it couldn't print on a base, but the base is printed as well, or maybe the base is part as a platform within that open middle area, and it prints it on the base, and then maybe the base gets removed or disconnected, and then it maybe Gravlev arms or some shit lowers the module down into place. Just whatever gobbledygook they have to come up with for the Pioneer not to have to physically land. I think it's a big Achilles heel right now, because like Blue D says up in Twitch chat here, says good luck finding 200 square a flat land to land. Exactly. I don't know where you're going to find a flat piece of land unless they do something where when you use the the Pioneer, it'll also like auto flatten the land around you, which they've talked a little bit about that ability. So we'll see what happens there. Let me catch up on some chat here. Let me go over to YouTube. Mr. Dot says they said the Spirit was made to size, then it turned out the metrics were wrong. Yeah, Mr. Dot, I actually talked to Paul Jones about that, the former art director at CIG. You know, he just left last week. He was the one who designed the Spirit. He said it was just a typo. It was always the metrics it was supposed to be. It was just when the marketing put it out initially, and they just had the metrics wrong. So I said it does happen. So let's see here. Andrea said, would be great if they made a Pioneer type ship, but smaller, not capital. Absolutely agree. I hope that's what the MCV is. Let's see here. Ace Hambone says, I think the 315 with its nose tractor beam is the best support ship for the Pioneer. Perfect for moving module pieces in place. Yeah, absolutely. I think that'd be really cool. Let me swing over to Twitch chat here. A lot of people talking about their org offering Pioneer type services, which I think a lot of people are thinking that. And I think that, again, could be really cool. Bunkerfist says, I see a problem with 1, paying someone to build my base for me, and 2, building a base for someone who hasn't paid. Perhaps I want the base to be hidden. There are a lot of trust needed from both sides for the gameplay of the Pioneer. Yes. So Bunkerfist, let's talk about that for a minute. So this is going to factor into one part of Star Citizen that CIG has talked a little bit about, and it's 100% key, is personal reputation. And by that, I mean reputation that other players leave about you, and it's visible in game, and people can check your reputation to see what your standing is. This factors into being a refueler or someone requesting refueling services. If I'm running a Starfare, I want to look up the person that just requested refueling and make sure they're not don't have a bad reputation. CIG's talked a little bit about this before, but this is the same thing that a Pioneer owner would want. If you want to be a successful Pioneer owner and you want people to be buying your services, you're going to want to maintain a good reputation. So you're not going to be selling them out, selling those locations out, or any of that. You might even advertise yourself as, hey, I'm the most discreet construction building Pioneer owner out there. Check out my personal reputation, blah, 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 blah. And you're going to have to base a little bit off of that. And then I think you're going to be, you know, as the person who wants the base, you're either going to be grinding up and farming up the materials for the Pioneer to use, or you're maybe just going to pay the Pioneer owner flat out to use their materials. So maybe a Pioneer owner or org will say, hey, you know, it's 20 million AUEC or 20 million UEC for us to come build you a base, but it's 32 million UEC for us to come build you a base, and we will use our materials. 1 second. So I think personal reputation is going to be key for a lot of these type of non-combat services, whether it's refueling, salvage operations, cargo gameplay. Let's say if you need to move all your crap from one landing zone to another because maybe you're moving your permanent homestead and you need to hire someone with a Hull D to move all your stuff. Maybe you don't own one. Maybe the only ship you have is a Corsair, and you don't want to do 600 runs in it. You might hire someone with a Hull D, and you're going to check that reputation, make sure they're in good standing. Griff says, I think they should take some inspiration on all things crafting, homes included, on how Star Wars Galaxy. Yep, I agree. Totally agree. Absolutely, Griff. You could have that be a reputation-based business. That'd be really cool. Bunkerfist says, yeah, well, this is a game. People don't all behave the same as our... Yeah, absolutely, Bunker. They don't. And that's why CIG has to give us those tools to mitigate risk. It won't eliminate risk, but it will mitigate it. And I think that's key. By the way, everyone, thank you for the follows. If you haven't followed yet and you enjoyed the conversation, or you enjoy StarJumpFleetViewer.com or any of the cinematics we do, all that stuff, please give us a follow over on Twitch, or if you're on YouTube, like and subscribe, hit that notification bell. Really, really appreciate it. It does wonders for us. It is a huge deal. It's a minor thing for you to do, but it's a huge deal for us. And I do sincerely appreciate it, seriously, from the bottom of my heart. Everyone, I will be right back. Give me 2 minutes. I'll be right back. All right, folks. Sorry about that. I'm coming back. And there we are. Is that my full cam? There we go. Where's my... Okay, here we go. Thanks, everyone. Sorry about that. So yeah, Pioneer. I just am really interested in industrial gameplay. I really hope at IAE, there's been 3 vehicles leaked. Well, I wouldn't say they've been leaked. There's been some references to data files, which means nothing. There's been some references to possibly a medical variant of the Pisces. Personally, would love that. I love the Pisces, one of my favorite ships. So I'm all about that. There's also been references to a Drake vehicle, a Drake cutter. That could be a cutter file reference for the cutters on the front of the Vulture. So I'm not getting too excited about that yet. But let's say it's not. Then I would say that a Drake cutter could be really cool. Maybe something by Drake that's sized to compete with something like the Hammerhead. That could be kind of cool. Yeah, I don't know. Drake cutter could be interesting. I'd be interested in seeing what that is. And then last but not least, there's been some references to the Argo MCV, possibly a small manufacturing crafting vehicle. Again, I would like it to be a sister ship to the Pioneer, maybe do something that helps the Pioneer do its job or adds to those outposts, but not as big of a deal as the Pioneer. Oh, those info runners. Hope you're well. Execute. Salute to you. Hope you're doing well. If those of you who have not checked out Info Runners, I don't know where you've been, go check them out. They have an awesome YouTube channel. A lot of great guys over there doing some great stuff. They have a lot of really good shows where they bring in experts in certain fields and they talk about those gameplay loops in Star Citizen. So go check it out. Thanks for stopping by. Excuse. We were just going through the top 5 ships I am kind of waiting on, like my my top 5 ships in terms of like, these are the ones I'm waiting on more than anything. And it's not necessarily because they're big or this or that. It's specifically because of the gameplay they will bring or just emergent gameplay opportunities they'll bring. So Kraken, Nautilus, Corsair, Pioneer, and the Polaris, all ships I'm really interested in. But I'm also interested in other smaller ships like the Expanse, the small refinery ship, and the Vulture. Those are 2 ships I'm really excited about. Really excited about. Check Leak says, any info on how the building materials mechanic works for the Pioneer? No, not yet. I mean, they've mentioned a little bit about it. What was it in last, like 2 IAEs ago or something? They talked a little bit about. But I'm hoping we'll get more info on that. We do know they're working on that internal tool for homestead building. So I think they're kind of figuring out a lot about that right now. But if it's anything like the repair mechanic, which I deep dived all of CIG's documents on the repair mechanic, probably about 6 months ago or something. I mean, I dug up everything they have ever said about repair, and I was actually pretty shocked on how in depth the repair mechanic's going to be. So if it's anything like that, then it could be awesome. See, Execute says, those are up there for me too, but where's the Endeavor? You know, I wasn't really a MISC fan But I did just recently get my first MISC ship. Well, I had a freelancer back in the day, but I got the Hull C, and I do have an Odyssey. Where's that? I do have an Odyssey. I love these two designs. I would love if the Endeavor gets redesigned a bit to be a little bit more like the Odyssey from a looks perspective. But I will say that I do love the Endeavor in terms of its oh, that's not what I meant. Let me type in Endeavor. I do love the Endeavor from just a kind of gameplay flexibility standpoint. Again, it's sort of like the Kraken to me in that it offers a lot of emergent gameplay opportunities. You can do everything with this ship. It's not one thing to you. So I love it for that perspective. It's the same reason I like the Kraken. You can have an industrial fleet on it, a salvage fleet. You could run cargo in this thing. It could be combat operation, whatever. I want flexibility in ships, and the Endeavor obviously offers that. My concern with the Endeavor is that it's such an old concept and it's so far out that by the time we do get it in our hands, it's very possibly going to be something different. I hope that's not the case. I don't think CIG will make it wholly different because they got to uphold to that pledge promise a little bit. But I'm just wondering where it will end up. You know, I mean, I know it's going to be a bigger ship. That part is pretty clear. You know, I think personally, if I had to guess, like if I was the one figuring it out, and I've done some internal 3D model sketches of the Endeavor's interior. If I had to sketch it out, I came to a scale of somewhere, was it around here? No, it's a little bit bigger. I came to a scale of roughly around 300 meters, so a little bigger than a Kraken. At 300 meters, the Endeavor would be able to comfortably fit everything it's kind of promising to do, and the modules would fit pretty comfortably at 300 meters. So yeah, the Kraken, a big fan of the Kraken. Again, I just love the look at it. I love the aircraft carrier look. But the other thing too is it has advantages for days over most of our capital ships. You can carry a much more wider variety of ships. They can come in at any angle. It has a huge cargo bay, has full turret coverage over the entire ship. It has multiple docking collar inputs on it on both the starboard and port side. I mean, it just has everything I want out of a ship, to be totally honest with you. Lars says, what's the name of this tool that you're showing us? It's the StarJump Fleet Viewer. You can head to starjumpfleetviewer.com. Go check that out. I will say, too, for those of you that are interested in where Fleet Viewer will go one day, first off, there will be a Fleet Viewer version 2. We are kind of working out all the features for it. It's going to be a much bigger, kind of robust jump for the Fleet Viewer. It's going to hopefully have new angles of the ships, possibly even a 360 rotation hero thing. But there's going to be some other cool stuff. You're going to be able to lock individual ships, group ships, other cool things, better labeling, and there's going to be other information on there too, like cargo SCU, crew counts, all that kind of stuff. But all that is, or you can go, yes, like Bunkerfist says, you can also go to hangar.link. That is the other way to get the StarJump Fleet Viewer. I'll show you a couple of Fleet Viewer tips here in just a second too. But after Fleet Viewer version 2, we're pushing towards our next big project, and that is going to be something called Fleet Command. And it's Fleet Viewer, but on steroids and times 1,000. It's going to be a much bigger thing than just Fleet Viewer. And if you're looking for ways to support StarJump, you can head over to our Patreon. You don't have to be a Patreon supporter to get access to our projects, but if you want to support us, we do usually give early sneak peeks at stuff. And probably this weekend, I'm going to do a sneak peek on Fleet Command and show off some visuals for it and kind of show what it's going to be able to do. So if you're interested in what Fleet Command will one day be, and hopefully it's not too far away, the StarJump Fleet Command is kind of the future. If anything, you can look at Fleet Viewer as like our test vehicle for Fleet Command. Fleet Command will use the visuals of Fleet Viewer, but on a whole other level, and it's going to add all kinds of cool stuff. You're going to be able to do it from a player level to an org level. It's going to be really, really cool. Okay, real quick here, I wanted to give a couple of Fleet Viewer tips for those of you just using Fleet Viewer for the first time. Since we're on here, I like to do this from time to time. Let me clear my canvas here. Okay, so when you first get to StarJump Fleet Viewer, do not forget that you can click on canvas settings, change the view of the ship, whether top down, profile, front, or isometric. You can change the rotation in the top down view, shadow, no shadows, and all that. But here's what I recommend. I recommend when you're building a fleet, do it in SD or LD mode. That's standard definition or low definition. Do it in this mode first so that when you're populating ships, right? So let's say you add a bunch of ships, okay? It runs at good performance, right? So let me scale these out, okay? And start getting more and more parts and pieces here, blah, blah, blah. Let me do this, and then I'll move this, and I'll do some more. So, oops, looks like the bots are back. Let me remove those. Stand by. But when you start spawning more and more stuff in the Fleet Viewer, it's going to start getting heavier and heavier, okay? But if you're working in the LD or SD mode, then that's fine. And if you're zoomed out this far, and I go to select all and change them all to LD, at this distance, they all look great. They look high res, right? So it's all about distance of scale, right? So at this distance, LD is perfectly fine. But if you're zooming in a little bit, if you want to view ships from this angle, then you may need to switch them all to SD or maybe even HD. But here's the thing. A lot of people just go to select all and just change them all from SD to LD because you can do them all at one time, right? Let me switch them to HD real quick. But don't forget, you can also do individual ships. So like, let's say from this scale distance, I want this Endeavor to be in high definition, but the rest to be in low definition, right? You can select all, hit SD for all these, but then just choose this one ship and make it HD. Like if I know I'm going to be zooming down to it, right? So now you see performance is back up, right? Another thing to do is if you're going to be moving around and scaling and exploring stuff, let's say you're a content creator or something, you're going to kind of be moving around, don't forget to lock your canvas. That way you can't click on something and mess it up. So it just makes it kind of easier. We are going to be putting additional tools in for content creators pretty soon. And what else? We're going to add ability to lock individual ships in the future so that you can more easily put ships on top of ships. There's going to be some ships that we do internal views of, not all of them, but some of them. So for example, the Idris, you're going to be able to view it in a holographic mode, but with just the hangar visible so that you can see if ships will fit in the hangar. Yes, execute. That is something we're looking at. Some sort of auto mode where if you click on one and zoom in, it'll sort of auto adjust that one that you're focused on. We're looking into the best way to do that and at what threshold to do that, but that is something we're looking at. So yes, cool stuff. Let's see here. Was it making a dedicated phone app? Death Trooper, we are looking at making a mobile version. This was built using Flutter, so it actually does support mobile, and we're looking at how to do that now. Let's see. Thank you for the follow, Stessig, VRP or VR Planeswalker. Thank you for the follows. Really appreciate y'all. But yes, a lot of features are coming to Fleet Viewer, a ton. And then, like I said, let me go to it real quick here. I'll tease the logo right now. How about that? Again, if you're really interested in seeing what the future of the project is going to be, it's going to be a project called StarJump Fleet Command. This is kind of our next big thing that we're working on. Again, it's the Fleet Viewer, but times 1,000. Excuse me, times 1,000. It's going to have some really amazing, awesome features that no one. There's been people that have done certain features that we're going to be doing in isolation, like they do one of them. We're bringing them all together to make what we're hoping we're going to make the ultimate Star Citizen destination for information. And it's going to be at the player level, the org level, every detail about ship. You're going to be able to assign real life players to specific ship crew positions. You're going to be able to name fleets. You're going to be able to get detailed information on squadrons that you custom build, DPS, cargo limits, all that stuff. I think it's going to really blow people away. We're still in the early phases of it. I do have a video though that shows a mock-up of it running, and I'll probably be giving Patreon members a sneak peek of that this weekend. Yes, Ace Hambone, the Polaris was already covered, but don't worry, I'll be streaming again tomorrow or Saturday. I don't know which, and I might deep dive the Polaris, because the Polaris, I did some additional modeling to, so we might get into that. Really hoping they show off the Polaris internal reconcepting at IAE. Really, really hope they do that. We have a great crowd watching right now. Oh, thank you, VR Planeswalker. Appreciate it. Salute to you as well. Bingo, off to work. Take it easy, Bingo. Stay well, buddy. So yes, again, the other cool thing about StarJump Fleet Viewer is, and Patreon, is if you do decide you want to support StarJump and what we do and the projects we do, and you want to support at the higher levels, people get custom ships in Fleet Viewer. Because of that. Here's one of those now, honoring Lisa, a community member of ours who passed away. Still kind of hits pretty hard to all of us that she's no longer with us, but really happy that her ships are kind of represented in the fleet here, and they always will be. Big love to Griff, I know, who's in chat, who is Lisa's partner, and we're gonna constantly make sure Lisa's memory is kept alive. Matter of fact, we might need to get another Lisa ship in here. If I think maybe we can think about that. We need to get another Lisa ship. Anyways, I'll be covering more stuff this weekend, and it's very possible if I do a sneak peek to Patreon users for Fleet Command this weekend, then it's very possible that maybe in 2 weeks I'll give a public sneak peek into Fleet Command. I'm being a little careful with it though, because there's some big stuff I don't want to promise with it that I think will be pretty groundbreaking for the community. Another thing I'll say, another quick tip about Fleet Viewer. This is one that I don't see a lot of people know. A lot of people, I see people in Fleet Viewer doing this. See how I'm zooming in? One at a time. We have such crazy scales that this is what I see a lot of people doing. If you want, by changing your mouse scroll wheel from the clicky version to the smooth version, with the flick of your mouse wheel, you can smoothly zoom in and out from pretty extreme distances. It really makes your Fleet Viewer experience much better. Even if you don't usually use the smooth mouse wheel option, switch to it for Fleet Viewer, and you will notice really good performance and improvement. Not all mice can do that. That's right, Bunkerfist. Sorry. Not all mice can do that. Sorry. But if your mice is able to do that, it really helps with the experience of Fleet Viewer. Okay, let's see. What else do we have here? Again, sorry everyone in Twitch, my Stream Elements things aren't working very well. I got to get all that readdressed as I've started streaming again. Ken Dan, Volcarus, hope you're well. Salute to you, buddy. It's been a while. Hope you are well. Anyways, that's pretty much it, everyone. I've got to run off and get some more work done. I will be streaming this weekend. Again, I'm finally restreaming here to both channels. And yeah, you'll start seeing me stream a lot more. And for those of you interested in Arma 3 gameplay, I think me and Ender are going to do some Arma 3 gameplay. As always, big shout off to, I don't think she's in chat or anything right now, but big shout out to Starlet. A lot of the stuff we do cannot be possible without Starlet's critical tech help. She's been absolutely amazing. So that's pretty much it, everyone. Stay well, stay safe. I'll talk to you real soon. Like I said, streaming tomorrow or Saturday. Don't know exactly which day, but stay tuned. If you haven't already followed the channel, please follow. I'm almost to 1,000 followers on Twitch. Let's get there. And don't forget, we have the giveaways this month. Ender's doing a bunch of giveaways on his channel for ships. We got Vultures, we got Corsair, and then on my channel in November, we're going to also be giving away 1 Vulture and 1 Corsair. You don't have to do anything other than be a follower of the channel, I believe. So real easy to get in on that. It's going to be awesome. Thanks for sticking with us. It's been kind of a casual chat, but appreciate it. Salute to you all. Have a good night. Let's see. Actually, let's see if is there anyone to raid. Let's see. Is there anyone to raid? Let's see. Let's see. You know what? We're gonna give our old friend. We're gonna give old Galathier. Nope. No. Actually, nope. Cancel that. We're gonna give our old good friend Blasphemous. We'll give him a raid. Say hello to him. Really good dude. Gave a great preview of Starjump Fleet Viewer on his own channel. Thanks, Execute. Take it easy, buddy. We'll talk soon, man. We definitely got to talk soon. We'll go give him a raid. Everyone, stay cool. Have a good one. I'm going to raid in 5, a 4, a 3, a 2, a 1. And we're raiding.